see if I can adjust this camera just a little bit for you, a little bit. Okay, maybe right there. All right. So everything's tacked off. Wax and grease remover. I took an old tack cloth because this is, primer and stuff like that. So I have an old tack cloth in a Ziploc bag just for this right here. Tack it off. Then wax and grease remover. Do not spray the body filler with wax and grease remover. My wax and grease remover is in these little pump sprayers. A couple little pumps, and you're good to go. But do not spray the panel. So what I do is I spray the cloth, and then I wipe it in one direction. Okay. So I have just a little bit of cre321, which is black. So I'm going to use that first for my ground coat. It's mixed 2 to 1 to 1. I'm going to put one light coat on that, and then I'm going to mix up. I got a new jug or new can of cre321, which is gray. I got it mixed up. I got a new jug or new can of cre321, which is gray. I got it on the shaker. It's in there shaking. And then once all that's done, I'll mix that 2 to 1 to half, and I'm only going to spray from here down. I'll spray the whole panel to make it gray, right? But I'm going to put one medium coat over the whole panel, right? And then the second coat I come in, I'm just going to go from here to there, and then I'm going to grab my wedge and come back. I don't need no high build on this, right? But I need it to cover to be uniform, one solid color. This section here is what needs the high build, and then I'll let this set. Tomorrow, my buddy Brian's coming over. We're going to set the doors, the hatch, and the hood. So that's enough of that. That's been about 2 minutes. I appreciate you. I'm going to turn the fans on. The sun came out, and it's about 79 degrees. The moisture content dropped from 90 down to 55. So within just a couple hours that happened with the fans going. So I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, let me know what's going on. But I'm going to get done talking and let's get to it. Alright, boys and girls, so that is cre921. That is mixed 2 to 1 to 1. That is, I sprayed it light. So my throttle or my fluid on my gun, how you set those up is you screw it all the way in. This is a solder. Screw it all the way in, and then you turn it 1, 2 and a half, pull the trigger, and turn it back a half or a quarter turn, and you can feel the trigger bump. Or you can run it all the way out, pull the trigger, screw it in until you feel the needle bump the trigger, let off the trigger, and then turn it a quarter of a turn, and then lock it down. Okay. At the school, how we do it for the students, so they don't make a mess, or try not to make a mess. We do that. That's normal setup, and then after we do that, we turn it in one more half round and lock it in, and that restricts the fluid just a little bit more for them, and then you adjust your air pressure and you fan. So I'm gonna cut the camera off right now. I'm gonna go in here and clean this gun here. Once this gun gets good and clean, then I'm gonna mix up the cre321, which is gray, and I'm gonna mix it 2 to 1.5. I'm gonna use the exact same gun. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna put 1 medium wet coat. I'm gonna let that flash off for 15-20 minutes. I'm using 80 reducer. It's 79 degrees now. So I'll let that flash off, you know, good 30 minutes. Fans going, gotta keep airflow, okay? You can't let it sit in here with no airflow because the solvents will go up and then the solvents will come back down, all right? The solvents are getting thick because the fan's not on. So, need a fresh air hood. I'm trying to get one ordered. So when the solvents come up, if they don't go away, they're gonna come back down, and then you're gonna have solvent pop, you're gonna have blister, you're gonna have dieback, you're gonna have all that problems. You're gonna have to evacuate all the solvents out, okay? So I'm gonna turn on that fan number 1 over there. It's gonna pull all the air through. It's gonna pull the solvents out that way. I'm gonna go in to the mixing room. I'm gonna clean my gun. I'm gonna mix up. I'm probably gonna mix up, let's see, I'm probably gonna mix up it mixes 2 to 1, so if I do 2 to 1 to 1, I'm probably gonna mix up about 400 milliliters of cre321, so that would be up to line. So you would go up, you go to the first 2 with the CRE, all right, or go up to the first 2 on 2 to 1 with the CRE, and then go from there to the second 2 with a hardener, and then I'm going to go up to 10%. I'm going to reduce it by 10%, which will give me about 350 ml of sprayable material. Okay, cre321 right now is about $1.38 an ounce with not hardener or reducer. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna cut the camera off. I'm gonna go in there and clean this up, and I'll be back in a minute, fellas. I appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button. All right, boys and girls. All right, so I'm gonna lay this down. So I got the cre321. It's mixed 2 to 1 to half. It's been about 45 minutes now. Everything looks good. You can see where the body filler has absorbed that first initial coat of that 921. So that's why I was saying if you spray wax and grease remover on there, it's going to absorb it, and then you're going to have problems. Just going to get right to it. So I appreciate you. I'm going to turn the fans on, and I think I'm just going to leave this on real time. I don't think I'm going to do it on time lapse. And let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe button. Let's get to it. All right, boys and girls, that's the first coat of the cre321 mixed 2 to 1.5 with DT 885 reducer. The boot is about 79 degrees. The humidity's came up just a little bit more because the sun's cooking the water out of the ground outside, so you're pulling that moisture in. But you can see it's laying out super smooth. I'm recording on my phone too, so there'll be little clip picks put in that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure everything's good and tack it off. We're not gonna tack it off, Jay. It's a little still sticky, but it looks very good the way it looks. I mixed up just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to spray. And the reason why I start on this side and go from this side to that side, the airflow is coming across, so it's a cross draft booth. So the intake's on this side, the exhaust on this side. If I was to start on this side and spray this way, unless you kept it super heavy wet, your overspray is going to land on top of there and it's going to be a little grainy. So if you'll start on this side because the air is going that way and go from this side to that side, I'm doing a 75% overlap. You're probably going to say, well, they taught us to do 50%. Well, that's true, but when you spray water is 75, solvent's 50. So if you're trying to remember what you're spraying, this, that, whatever, blah, 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 and then you got metallics, and then you got candies, and then you got tri-coats, and then you got 4 coats, and you got 5 coats. So I have found out if you just do 75% overlap all the time, you won't have no issues. So I start on this side, I go to this side, and then once I can reach all the way across, but once you get halfway and I go around to the other side and I grab the other side, I step back just a little bit, probably 3/4, maybe a little bit more, and grab my wet edge, because you want to keep a wet edge so you don't have that film, you don't have that crust over in the middle where you got that rough texture in the middle. I see a lot of guys online say, hey man, what is this right here? And you can see it looks a little texture. It could be for a lot of reasons, but one most common reason for that is you didn't keep a wet edge. And a wet edge has a lot to do with the type of materials that are using. So if it's 85 degrees and I'm using 70-degree reducer, it's the 15-degree rule. So my flash times is cut in half. So let's just say it's 85 degrees and I'm using 70-degree reducer. So my flash times, let's just say for educational, is 10 minutes between coats. That's when you start spraying, not when you stop. So when I start spraying, my flash time starts. It also starts on how heavy you putting your material down. So let's just say I'm starting on this side, I'm using 70-degree reducer and it's 85 degrees and I spray this way. My solvents is already, it's gassing off, it's drying, because instead of having 10 minutes of flash times at 70 degrees with 70-degree reducer, and it's 85 degrees and I'm using 70-degree reducer, my flash times are not 10 minutes, it's actually 5 minutes or less. So my flash times are less, so it's going to dry super fast. So you want to be, slower is better. I don't care what anybody says, slower is better. When you give everything time to mellow out and melt in, it's a whole lot nicer. I could have sprayed this with 70 reducer. I could have come in here and pounded crap out of it and got it on there, and then once it dries and you look at it and it crusts over and it flashes off, it's going to have a little bit of texture. Everybody calls it orange peel. You're going to get orange peel after all the solvents have gassed off of it. That's a given. I don't care if you spray it 100 psi, you're not going to get rid of, I've seen guys online say, well, I'm going to show you how to get rid of orange peel. You got to jack your air pressure up and put it on there. Yeah, you're putting it in small little solvent pop drops, but that's not really entirely true. You're going to get orange peel after it gas off. But I'm done with that. So I'm using 85-degree reducer, and it's 80 degrees. So my flash times is 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes. If I was to bump it up to 95 reducer and my flash times are 10 minutes, I actually have 15 minutes to 18 minutes depending on how wet I spray it. Okay, if I really want to slow it down, I can use 98 reducer, which has a retarder in it, and that will actually increase it a whole 15 minutes. So if I spray it on there and I got 10 minutes, or excuse me, not 15 minutes, if I spray it on there and I got 10-minute flash time at 70 degrees, at 70-degree reducer, and at 70-degree material, and I use 95 reducer on the 15-minute rule, you actually now have 25 to 30 minutes between coats. So you boys and girls are going to have to learn your products. So that's enough talking. Let's get to spraying. All right, boys and girls, that's about it. That's a wrap. Had a little bit of residual 921 come out of the gun. I didn't take the gun all the way apart. I just took some gun cleaner and just flushed it out. But it's okay. So I'm gonna do a video with my phone. It's probably gonna look like a little bit of trash, but it's not. It's just black specks from the 921. But like I said, this bottom edge is still wet, and I kind of just feathered it this way. And I'm gonna leave the fans on. I'll probably let the fans stay on for about an hour, pulling all the gas out. And then after that, I'll probably, depending on the temperature outside, I'll probably shut the door, turn the heat on, run the heat up to about 100 degrees, knock all the moisture, everything out of the room, let that set for, once it gets to 100 degrees, probably let it set for 15 minutes at 100 degrees. Then I'll shut the heat off. Then I'll turn one fan on and let that fan run. I'll open half the filter bank, let pull out the air, and then I'll open the filter bank all the way, and then I'll turn on both fans, let both fans run for another hour, and then I'll shut the fans down, and then I'll set a small Walmart box fan in front of the door to keep the air circulating. You do not ever want to shut up your booth to let the solvents just stay in here, because what will happen is the solvents will go up and come back, and like I said in the beginning of the video, you'll have dieback, solvent pop, blisters. It won't dry right. It won't dry and cure is completely different. So after everything's done, then if the sun comes back out, I'll probably roll them outside and let them set in the UV sun. Nothing beats the sunshine, true UV. Let it set in the sun for about 15 minutes, and then I'll pull them back inside, let them cool off. So it all depends on the weather. If the sun comes out, I'll move them outside. If the sun don't come out, I'll turn the heat on to kind of pull some of those solvents out. Then tomorrow, I'll definitely roll them outside. If it's sunshine and pretty outside, I'll let the UVs hit on them a little bit. And I think my buddy Brian's coming sometime tomorrow afternoon, as long as it ain't raining. And then we'll set the doors and get all that stuff together. So I appreciate you. If you got any questions, if you do it a different way, I know everybody does stuff different. I've been doing this for about 25 plus years. I've been fortunate enough to work at other places. I've been fortunate enough to have been exposed to a lot of people that's a whole lot smarter than me and a whole lot of education. And education don't mean nothing if you don't know how to apply it. And just because you have degrees don't make you smart. And just because you don't have a degree don't make you smart. We're always education, education, education. This product is changing every single day. We're not spraying. From 1950, we spraying enamel. Now we still spray enamel, but it's not every day. We're spraying water-based stuff. You have to grow. You have to grow. You have to stay on the tip of the wave of technology, or you're going to crash and drown in the brakes. Remember I said, boys and girls, give me a subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me something. Let me know. Remember I said, also subscribe to YouTube channel, go to Facebook page, hit the subscribe button and like button there, and don't remember what I said. What's that, Jay? Don't worry about the man up the road or the man down the road. Sweep off your own front porch where I'm sweeping off anybody else's. Put God first, let loose and drag. Peace up.